Hook. Have you ever noticed that the people who seem the most confident rarely rush to defend themselves? Someone misunderstands them. Someone criticizes them. Someone spreads rumors. Yet instead of arguing, they simply move on. At first, this behavior looks strange. Wouldn't an innocent person want to explain everything? Surprisingly, psychology suggests the opposite. Some of the strongest minds know that not every opinion deserves a response, because every explanation costs something: your time, your energy, and sometimes your self-respect. So why do emotionally intelligent people stay silent when everyone expects them to speak? And what does that silence reveal about the human mind? Let's find out. Introduction. We live in a world where people constantly feel pressured to justify themselves. Why did you say that? Why didn't you reply? Why did you leave? Why did you change? Social media has made this even worse. Today, many people feel they owe everyone an explanation. But psychology tells a different story. People with strong emotional intelligence understand something that most people never learn. Not every misunderstanding needs to be corrected. Not every accusation deserves your attention. And not every person deserves access to your thoughts. Silence is not always weakness. Sometimes, silence is emotional discipline. Let's explore why some people never explain themselves, and why this habit often makes them stronger than everyone else. Sign number 1. They don't need external validation. One of the biggest psychological differences between confident people and insecure people is where they get their sense of worth. Insecure people depend on approval. They feel uncomfortable when someone misunderstands them. So they explain, then explain again. And sometimes continue explaining for hours, not because the other person is listening, but because they desperately want to be understood. Confident people think differently. They know something important. People don't always misunderstand you because your explanation is bad. Sometimes they misunderstand you because they've already decided what they want to believe, and no amount of explanation can change a mind that isn't open. Psychologists call this confirmation bias. People naturally search for information that supports what they already believe, while ignoring everything that challenges it. That's why arguing with someone who has already judged you often changes nothing. Emotionally mature people recognize this. Instead of wasting energy trying to control someone else's opinion, they focus on controlling their own behavior. Because your peace becomes much more valuable than winning every argument. And strangely, the less they chase approval, the more respect they often receive. Sign number 2. They know that actions always outlive words. Imagine meeting two different people. The first person constantly tells you, "Trust me. I'm honest. I'm loyal. You can count on me." The second person says almost nothing. But every promise they make, they keep. Every commitment, they honor. Months later, which person would you trust? Psychology gives a simple answer. People believe patterns more than promises. This is known as behavioral consistency. Our brains naturally judge people based on repeated actions, not repeated explanations. That's why emotionally intelligent people rarely waste time defending their character. They understand that character is something people observe, not something you announce. Think about someone who is truly kind. Do they constantly remind everyone how kind they are? Usually not. Their behavior speaks before their words ever need to. The same is true for honesty, respect, confidence, integrity. These qualities become visible over time, and when someone questions them, emotionally mature people don't panic. Because they know one conversation cannot erase years of consistent behavior. They trust time to reveal the truth. This mindset creates an incredible sense of freedom. Instead of trying to convince everyone, they simply continue living according to their values. Eventually, their actions become the explanation they never had to give. Sign number 3. Silence often makes other people reveal themselves. Here's something fascinating about human psychology. Silence makes many people uncomfortable. When a conversation suddenly becomes quiet, most people rush to fill the empty space. They keep talking. They reveal emotions. They reveal intentions. Sometimes, they even reveal secrets they never planned to share. Experienced negotiators know this. Good interviewers know this. Even skilled therapists understand the power of silence, because silence creates psychological pressure. Now imagine someone accuses you unfairly. Your first instinct is probably to defend yourself immediately. But emotionally intelligent people often pause, not because they have nothing to say, but because they're watching, they're observing, they're paying attention to something more important than the accusation itself. They're studying the other person's behavior. Does that person genuinely want the truth? Or are they simply looking for an argument? There's a huge difference. Someone searching for understanding will ask questions. Someone searching for conflict will ignore every answer you give. And once you recognize that difference, you stop wasting energy trying to convince people who never intended to understand you in the first place. Silence also exposes emotional control. The person who loses control first often loses influence first. While one person reacts emotionally, the calm person gains information. They notice facial expressions, changes in tone, moments of frustration, small contradictions. These details usually disappear when both people are busy arguing. That's why silence isn't passive. It's active observation. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is learning the most, and sometimes the less you explain yourself, the more clearly other people explain who they really are. Sign number 4. They refuse to give manipulative people control. Have you ever noticed that some people don't ask questions because they want answers? They ask questions because they want control. Think about it. Why didn't you call me? Why did you do that? What were you thinking? Sometimes these questions are completely normal, but other times, they're designed to put you on the defensive. The moment you feel pressured to justify every decision, something changes. The conversation is no longer about understanding. It's about power. Psychologists have long observed that people who constantly defend themselves often begin to doubt their own decisions, even when those decisions were reasonable. This happens because the human brain doesn't just respond to facts, it also responds to pressure. When someone keeps demanding explanations, your attention shifts away from your own judgment and toward earning their approval. That's exactly what manipulative people want. Emotionally intelligent people recognize this pattern early. They know that every explanation invites another question, and another, and another. No explanation is ever enough for someone who enjoys keeping you on trial. So instead of stepping into that endless cycle, they step out of it completely. They answer what deserves an answer. And they let unnecessary questions remain unanswered, not because they're rude, but because they understand an important truth. You are responsible for your choices. You are not responsible for satisfying everyone's curiosity. The people who truly respect you won't demand endless proof. And the people who don't respect you usually won't believe your proof anyway. Sometimes protecting your peace means refusing to participate in conversations that were never meant to be fair. That isn't avoidance. It's emotional boundaries. And boundaries are one of the strongest signs of psychological maturity. Point number 5. Their silence comes from confidence, not fear. Many people mistake silence for weakness, but psychology often shows the opposite. There are two kinds of silence. One comes from fear, the other comes from confidence. Confident people don't stay quiet because they have nothing to say. They stay quiet because they know not every opinion deserves a response. They choose their words carefully. They respond instead of reacting. They understand that speaking less often gives their words more meaning. Real confidence isn't about winning every argument. It's about staying true to yourself, even when others don't understand you. Sometimes, the strongest statement you can make is saying nothing at all. Point number 6. They accept that not everyone will understand them. No matter what you do, someone will misunderstand you, someone will judge you, and someone will believe a story that isn't true. Emotionally mature people don't waste their lives trying to change every opinion. They focus on living according to their values. Because real confidence comes from knowing who you are, not from making everyone agree with you. Point number 7. Their silence comes from confidence. Many people think silence means weakness, but often it means self-control. Confident people don't react to every criticism. They choose their battles wisely. They understand that not every opinion deserves a response. Sometimes, the strongest message is calm silence, because confidence doesn't need constant explanations.
Conclusion. So, people who never explain themselves aren't being rude. They're protecting their peace. They know that actions speak louder than words, and consistency speaks louder than promises. The next time you feel the need to explain yourself, ask one simple question. Will this explanation change anything? If the answer is no, protect your energy, trust your actions, and let time reveal the truth. Short CTA. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to Mind Theory for more psychology and human behavior content. Stay curious, observe deeply, think differently,